Buffalo Bills training camp starts today, and we're already hearing some differences. Even Sean McDermott approaching Jordan Poyer during OTA saying, hey, look, you look a little bit extra bulked up, especially your legs. You seem to be moving really well this year, you know? So these are the differences we're talking about for the Buffalo Bills in 2023. Welcome to my channel, Bills News Consolidated. Buffalo Bills actual training camp practice starts today. We're going to hear about Von Miller, the progression of Von Miller's injury, Trey White's injury, Micah Hyde's injury, all these players coming back for Bills Mafia and what that actually means. My previous video, we discussed it, iron sharpening iron, not having Trey White sharpening iron with Diggs last year, with Gabe Davis, and all these pieces. But we have some additional pieces here, and I hope you guys watch the Buffalo Bills video, the training camp release video. It showed clips from the OTAs. It showed a lot of these players that we have questions about going into this season. And one thing I did find interesting was Micah Hyde's injury. Seeing how well Micah Hyde was actually moving and hearing Micah Hyde specifically state this offseason, if we would have beat the Bengals, if we were in that AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, Micah Hyde could have very well made an appearance last year. He could have came back last year. So knowing that he's had this full offseason, that he had his Micah Hyde charity baseball game and he's swinging that bat violently, I really believe Micah Hyde's neck is fine. And they showed him in the back pedal, they showed him in coverage during OTAs, and he is just flying around too. He looked extra fast. He just looks like he's in great shape. And I know Micah Hyde's injury, it was a previous injury that he's had. Like this, it wasn't just like a new thing. And I believe the surgery or whatever he had done to it is making him feel extra great. And I believe he stated that too. Like this is the best he's actually felt regarding his neck after that neck surgery that he had. So this is absolutely huge, seeing that we have both these players coming back. Trey White, also another player coming here to Bills Mafia, having a full off season. And I think a lot of people are just doubting Trey White. Once arguably the best corner in the NFL, comes back last year. People were expecting him to be the same, but didn't have a full offseason to really work on himself, to work on his craft. Really spent that offseason rehabbing that knee. But now Trey White is getting back to himself. You know, this is going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. Now, really the biggest news that we're going to get here, I believe, is Von Miller. I mean, obviously, Von Miller, a lot of people saying, like Chris Sims coming out saying that the Buffalo Bills don't have a lot of blue chip type players. You know, we're evenly good at a lot of positions, but we don't have a lot of staple pieces. So players like Trey White, they need to prove that they're a blue chip player. Player like Von Miller, who we just brought in, ton of money last year. He needs to prove that he is truly a blue chip player. I mean, Hall of Famer without a doubt. But he needs to prove that he still is a blue chip player. Will Von Miller start the season on PUP? Will he actually start the season playing? It's going to be super interesting to see how the Buffalo Bills handle this. And, you know, you can take a look at it and say, oh, maybe strategically it'd be better if he did start on PUP. But if Von Miller is ready to go, if he says that he's ready to go, I believe you have to listen to Von. Having Von Miller on the field is much, much better than not. Leonard Floyd, Shane Ray, Greg Rousseau, and AJ Epinesa, Boogie Basham, seeing the clips that from the video that was released, seeing them at Von Miller's camp, pass rush academy that he has. I really love seeing Greg Rousseau there. I love seeing AJ Epinesa there. I didn't see Boogie Basham in the clips that were present, but he could have been there as well. But Greg Rousseau seemed so attentive. He seemed like, you know, he was discussing things, going over to Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's what it takes as a player. You know, you gotta get over that. You gotta approach the defensive ends, the colleagues in the NFL, and try to get information from them, right? And I think that's huge. Seeing Greg Rousseau take that extra step, not only learning from Von Miller, but, you know, taking that extra step and learning from a Micah Parsons and AJ Epinesa and Greg Rousseau stepping aside, discussing what they heard, you know, discussing what they visually saw between Von Miller and these discussions. So, you know, these players are ultimately all striving to be the best versions of themselves. And Spencer Brown, too, is another guy that I think last year caught a lot of flack. And he had off-season back surgery heading into last year. He got hurt during the season, hurt his ankle versus the Chiefs pretty badly and battled through that all throughout the year. So I think Spencer Brown, being a taller, longer type tackle, hearing a lot of NFL analysts say a lot of long, tall tackles, they need to spend their off seasons doing physical workouts. They really need to build up their endurance. They need to build up their strength, because otherwise these defensive linemen could get underneath them if they're not in good shape. It's easier to get underneath taller, longer tackles. So Spencer Brown having a full offseason to dedicate to his strength, conditioning, really should make him a lot better than what he was last year. Yes, he is going to be competing with Brandon Shell and some of these other free agent signings that Brandon Beane brought in, which is absolutely huge. But we've got to see how this all works. And also Demar Hamlin. You know, Demar Hamlin posting on Twitter saying like, hey, look, you know, say a prayer for me. You know, it's a scary thing. You know, you could say Trey White being scared of going back out on that field, not wanting to re-tear his ACL, or Von Miller not wanting to re-hurt himself, right? But how about Demar Hamlin not wanting to freaking see that light again, man? To not wanting to freaking potentially die on the field. You know, that is a scary, scary thought. And Demar Hamlin is a complete G for coming up to try to get over that. It's unreal stuff. Absolutely unreal. But I'm so hyped up for this. Yes, we lose Nyheim Hines, but Damian Harris is there, coming from a similar playbook, similar verbiage in the Patriots, because that's where Brian Dable spent 10, 15 years of his career with Bill Belichick as a tight end coach. So what do you think? I think Damian Harris is going to have an easy transition to the Buffalo Bills, unlike what Nyheim Hines had last year, getting here in the middle of the season. So a lot to discuss here. Who's going to win that kick and punt return for the Bills? Darrington Evans was just signed. Who's it going to be? Khalil Shakir? Maybe we see a surprise Justin Shorter, only returned a few kicks in college, but you never know. You really never know. I think jobs are earned on this team. I think we have to give that role an opportunity to a bunch of different players and just see who blossoms, baby. But 2023 Buffalo Bills training camp is here. Practice is going to be kicking off. A lot of questions should be answered after today. We're going to be dissecting interviews from Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, the players, interviewing highlights, and showing so much more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit like, subscribe. It really supports my efforts for this channel. Go Bills.